Hello and welcome to SLBC News Hour in Freetown. I am Williamina Buku. Coming up in this edition of the news, Malaria Transport and Logistics updates the media on its port expansion at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. The Sierra Leone News Agency and Ministry of Information and Communications officially launched the Sierra News newspaper, and the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Professor Alpha Tijanwuri, launches the Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy. All the stories and more lined up and news are with me, Williamina Buku. Welcome back, and now for our first story. The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Professor Alpha Tijanwuri, has launched the Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy. This was in observance of World Malaria Day. The launching took place at the hockey pitch Wilberforce. Daphne Kimama-Makoli reports.
Malaria has been described by many as one of the most common and deadly diseases in the world. According to statistics from the United Nations, almost half of the world's population are at risk to the disease, and that almost 2/3 of the people that died of malaria were children under 5 years. The United Nations set aside 25th April as World Malaria Day. This is to give special attention to the fight against the disease and intensify the efforts by partners. The theme for this year is Zero Malaria Starts With Me. The Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy is to map out ways to intensify the fight against the disease in Sierra Leone.
On behalf of His Excellency Brigadier Retired Julius Mada BBO, I now officially launch Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy.
The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Professor Alpha Wuri, said the war against malaria cannot be fought by the Ministry of Health alone, but also with efforts of partners. He observed that women are important in the fight and that it is vital to seek medical attention in time. He encouraged people to be hygienic and emphasized that the treatment for malaria is free in all government hospitals. The United States Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Maria Brewer, said the United States is proud to recognize the partnership it has with the government of Sierra Leone in the fight against malaria. She said the U.S. government saved more than 7 million lives in 2000, adding that this year's theme is in recognition of the fight against the deadly disease.
We know that fighting malaria together makes us more effective and achieves a greater impact than any of us could do alone. Countries are best positioned to beat malaria with strong partnerships behind them. American partnership, including technical and financial commitment through the U.S. President's Malaria Initiative, or PMI, as well as the U.S. contribution to the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria.
Head of China Center for Disease Control, Professor Khan, said China is ready to assist the government of Sierra Leone to fight malaria, adding that China is willing to do all it could to control the disease in their own way. Director of National Malaria Control Program, Ministry of Health, Dr. Joanna Smith, said so far there has been 40% reduction in the death rate, but emphasized that there is need for scaling up of efforts in the fight. A representative of the Freetown City Council and Councillor of Ward 437 Wilberforce, Amnata Sise, said the fight against malaria starts with proper hygiene programs, which she said is why the FTC is scaling up efforts to clean the Freetown municipality. For SLBC News, Daphne Kimama-Makoli reporting.
Well, President Julius Maada Bio has added that his government added $900,000 United States dollars to the remaining $1.5 million in order to meet the construction cost of the $2.4 million bridge at Lumley. This President Bio noted was to ensure that locals were employed as part of the workforce. He made the statement during the opening of the Senga Memorial Bridge. Hawa Mosire reports.
6 months ago, the President commissioned the start of the work on this bridge. He told the audience that there was a time when road projects were exorbitantly costed, poorly planned, poorly coordinated, and never completed on time, as those in charge then cut corners and pocketed millions of dollars from those roads construction contracts. President Julius Maada Bio highlighted that the last government allocated $4.4 million for the construction of the bridge over an 18-month period. And they were in power for 11 years but never built a bridge in Lumley. The president said the people of Sierra Leone deserve to know what happened to the $4.4 million allocation.
There should have been a second bridge several years ago as part of the original Lumley-Toke Peninsula project funded by our development partners. The last government allocated $4.4 million for the construction of this bridge over an 18-month period. They were in power for 11 years, but they never built this bridge. The people of Sierra Leone deserve to know what happened to the $4.4 million. I promise the people of Sierra Leone that under the new direction government, we will deliver purposeful and well thought out infrastructure projects that are affordable by this country, transparently well managed, and purposefully designed to serve the inclusive needs of all Sierra Leoneans.
The president acknowledged that what the project demonstrates is very simple, that his government can build bridges and roads that meet international standards faster, better, and for less money, adding that they can also do infrastructural development without officials stealing millions of dollars meant for the project.
My government maintains a long-term and holistic approach to infrastructural development. So in addition to the bridge, my government deems it necessary to build a bigger and more conveniently located market and transportation interchange for minibuses, taxis, and other commercial vehicles. We also intend to build a connected pedestrian flyover across this road so that commuters can walk across the road safely to the market and to the transportation interchange. The Office of Presidential Infrastructure Initiative has undertaken comprehensive assessment and planning. Once we finalize discussions about financing sources, work will commence immediately.
President Julius Maada Bio told the audience that his administration maintains a long-term and historic approach to infrastructural development, and in addition to the Sengbepia Memorial Bridge, his administration deems it necessary to build a bigger and more conveniently located market and a transportation interchange for minibuses, taxis, and other commercial vehicles.
As we aspire towards the values of leadership with integrity and persistence, it is but fitting that we formally commission this bridge after a national hero who resisted slavery, stood up for justice, and returned to make the lives of his compatriots even better. With that, I formally commissioned this bridge, the Sengbepia Memorial Bridge.
The project was directly monitored by the Ministry of Works and Public Access and the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, according to the Minister, Raymond de Souza George. The project was launched in November last year, and they are now assembled to commission it. The benefits of the first-class bridge in the country cannot be overemphasized, and the heavy traffic on the community will now be less easy and accessible. He said the community appreciates the People's Republic of China for their support.
In making the deeper west of the western area more easily accessible, this bridge is also a key to unlocking the enormous potential of a continuously growing city. as I express our appreciation to the government and people of China, the SLR, the contractors whose tireless efforts have resulted in the successful completion of this project.
Chinese Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Hun Zhenling, disclosed that the construction of the second Juba Bridge is an important decision made by the government of Sierra Leone, especially President Julius Maada Bio, to break the traffic bottleneck in Freetown and improve the people's quality of life. He said on the request of the government of Sierra Leone, the Chinese government made special arrangements and provided urgent assistance to co-fund the construction of the bridge together with the government of Sierra Leone. Chairman Infrastructural Initiative, Dr. John Tabi, stated that the new direction government believes in putting Sierra Leone and the welfare of the people first, irrespective of tribe and religion. The bridge, he said, was constructed in 5 months, adding that the old ways of doing construction are gone, commending President Bio for initiating the Infrastructure Office to improve development.
We believe in Sierra Leone, and we believe in the people of Sierra Leone, and we believe that however Sierra Leone will be better. And we believe by this evidence that Salon will be better. However, for Salon to for better, we need to come together, we need to work together in peace, love, and in conviction and commitment to the vision to transform our nation.
The Director General of SLRA, Amarakane, noted that when the president took office, his main agenda was to fight against corruption, poverty, and lawlessness, and this is what he has demonstrated in the construction of the Sengbe Bridge. So many lessons, he said, have been learned during this construction period, commending People's Republic of China for the quick intervention. A documentation was also signed by the Chinese ambassador and the chairman of infrastructure for the completion of the project. In another development, President Bio signed the Book of Condolence for Honorable Momodu Eskimo Mansari of Constituency 043. SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hawa Musiri reporting.
Well, residents of Lumley have raised concerns that the newly extended Sembepia Memorial Bridge might be misused by squatters and traders. They are also worried that the frequent depositing and burning of garbage under the bridge will affect it. Soriba Samura has been finding out.
The Juba Bridge, as it was always known, is now 4-lane. It has been serving Lumley, Juba and other communities in the Western Rural District. The transformation through has not only brought smiles to the people in that community, but also raised eyebrows of potential threats to the development of the additional 2 lanes. According to a resident of Lumley, Amara Ansumana, the biggest worry and a serious threat to the span of the bridge is the ongoing burning of garbage under it. For him, the responsibility lies squarely on Freetown City Council, especially the Metropolitan Police, to make sure that traders don't sell or display wares on the bridge, and also to stop people from depositing rubbish under it. According to the Metropolitan Police Commander of the Western Division, ASP Philip Dalton Taylor, they will enforce all the laid down laws governing the municipality to safeguard the bridge from misuse.
People have been depositing garbage, but because of our presence here now, that one has been combated. We are now chasing others to see how best they can evacuate from the bridge. So I think our presence here has served a lot.
He pointed out that the location of their office near the bridge means they will have access to the bridge and monitor human activities around it. The chairman of the Western Area Tricycle Riders Union, Isiaka Kuruma, said the bridge was a halt point for vehicles plying the route to and from Juba and Godrich. When the bridge was 1 lane, he said, some fatal accidents happened frequently. Mr. Kuruma believes that since people will no longer work in the middle of the bridge, accidents will be minimal. But can the creation of this 4-lane traffic bridge totally ease the traffic congestion in Lumley?
Really, we will talk to our members and to see that we use this road wisely and to be careful. Not even here, all area when they are riding, to be very cautious. We have our monitoring team, we have our task force, where initially we will start, newly we will start so that we can direct people, and also the rider, we can educate them to see that they use this bridge properly and with the proper use.
With this new Juba to Aberdeen bypass, many people believe it will ease the traffic. Soriba Samura, Freetown.
Famous Nigerian gospel musician Uche Agu is in the country. He's here to grace the Elevated Praise 2019, which is scheduled to take place over the weekend at Golden Tulip Hotel. Other gospel musicians are expected to feature in the event. Our reporter Amara Sumaila was at the Freetown International Airport and files in the report, read in the studios by Soriba Samura.
The global church through worship and music, and to reach millions globally as he's successfully done in Africa, Europe and the Caribbean. He infused his musical brand with the vibrant sounds of techno, rock, reggae, Latin and traditional gospel sound with the roots of raw African rhythm. Uche Agu garnered fame in the Africa diaspora as the soloist on the South African Musical Assembly Joyous Celebration's contagiously popular hit, My God is Good. With well over 3 million views on YouTube since its release in 2009, he has cultivated audiences and the headline performer for over 70,000 on tour throughout the continent. His popularity led him to perform for some of the largest congregations and audiences throughout the USA, Caribbean islands, United Kingdom, Amsterdam, Italy, and Germany. Mr. Uche Agu said he has motivated several gospel musicians across the globe, and he is in Sierra Leone to praise God and to share knowledge with Sierra Leonean gospel musicians.
I'll be singing with my brother Joseph also. The team is coming from Nigeria. It's going to be a great time of praise and worship and collaboration between, Nigeria and Sierra Leone, and also putting Sierra Leone on the map of the world. When I put it on social media, I'm coming to Sierra Leone. People are like, wow, you're going to Sierra Leone. Wow, when is this going to happen? People were excited. Even on the plane, people were excited that we're coming here to be a part of what my brother Joseph is doing.
The manager of Elevated Praise, Elvino de Souza George, remitted that the show will bring a turnaround in the gospel music industry in Sierra Leone.
World Malaria Day is commemorated every year on the 25th of April. The day recognizes global efforts to control malaria. As recent as 2012, malaria caused an estimated 627,000 deaths, mostly among African children, Asia, Latin America, and to a lesser extent, the Middle East and parts of Europe. Daphne Camara takes a look at the disease and how it has affected many lives.
World Malaria Day is commemorated every year on the 25th of April. The day recognizes global efforts to control malaria, and it's one of 8 official global public health campaigns currently marked by the World Health Organization. Malaria is caused by the Plasmodium parasite. The parasite spreads to humans through the bites of infected mosquitoes. There are many different types of Plasmodium parasites, but only 5 types cause malaria. Globally, 3.3 billion people in 106 countries are at risk of malaria. As recent as 2012, malaria caused an estimated 627,000 deaths, mostly among African children. Asia, Latin America, and to a lesser extent the Middle East and parts of Europe are also affected. This year's theme, Zero Malaria Starts With Me, emphasizes the need for individuals to take prescribed precautionary methods to combat the disease worldwide. Sierra Leone has one of the highest incidents of malaria. The country's entire population is at risk of the disease, and it is one of Sierra Leone's leading causes of deaths and illness. Malaria accounts for 4 in any 10 hospital consultations countrywide. Young children are particularly prone to infection, illness, and death from malaria. In Sierra Leone, the disease contributes to close to an estimated 20% of child mortality. Malaria Control Program Manager in Sierra Leone is Dr. Samuel Joanna Smith.
Well, the signs and symptoms basically, first, the cardinal sign is actually fever, followed by weakness, loss of appetite, malaise. So what we normally advise people is fever is not equals to malaria. It could be any other form of diseases. So what we advise people is go promptly to the health facilities to be actually examined, tested, and confirmed. And if malaria, you will surely receive free malaria treatment.
Explaining more about the signs and symptoms of malaria, Dr. Smith noted that most times, high fever and other similar signs do not actually mean one is suffering from malaria, but emphasized the need for people to go for tests promptly. Sierra Leone achieved vast declines in malaria deaths between 2010 to 2018, the highest in Western Africa. The rollback malaria is linked to a range of interventions, including increased availability of diagnostic tests, free treatments, and mass distribution of insecticide-treated nets. Apart from bed nets, there are other preventive measures that are used to prevent mosquitoes in homes. But how effective are the bed nets?
We have a strategic direction based on improving interventions, be it how to scale up the cost-effective intervention for the vector control like the IRS or the mosquito nets, and the intermittent periodic therapy for pregnant women using the ANC outlets. And also we have introduced the IPTI targeting infants. We give them just for them to go to the clinic 3 times under 1 year. Then we'll be giving what we call SP, sulfadoxine pyrimethamine. That will also help to reduce malaria burden in those cohorts by 30%.
Most people never see a doctor when they fall ill. They just buy drugs over the counter in pharmacies or other outlets based on the signs and symptoms they feel. This, Dr. Smith warned against. How does the Ministry of Health regulate the sale of drugs?
We have the Pharmacy Board of Sierra Leone. They do regulate importers, what comes in, type of drugs, reagents, and the like. So we work closely with the Pharmacy Board of Sierra Leone to support the programs. And also by extension, we have got advocacy meetings with the Pharmaceutical Society of Sierra Leone and with all the business individuals, the technicians. We have involved them and we have actually trained some of them. In total, about 215 pharmaceutical outlets. We have trained them in Freetown, Bo, Kono, and Makini, and Kenema. So we are trying to scale up to actually bring people on board to ensure that we all provide services.
In a historic first, Malawi rolled out malaria vaccine pilot program for children on Tuesday. The RTS vaccine trains the immune system to attack the malaria parasite. Malawi is one of 3 African nations, including Ghana and Kenya, which have been chosen to pilot the new vaccine that will be introduced in the coming weeks. According to reports, the trial showed pretty clearly that the malaria vaccine is safe and it is efficacious in terms of its ability to prevent clinical malaria episodes and also severe malaria. This is welcome news in the fight against malaria, as everyone believes that prevention is better and cheaper than cure. Where does Sierra Leone stand in all of this?
The malaria vaccine, because we have a lot of traditional tools, so we are looking for new tools. New tools in the sense to ensure that, to add value to the existing tools in the fight against malaria. So in 2009 to 2015, there was a trial being done in 9 countries, and the report was published officially by WHO in 2015, recommending that we need further studies to be done for the vaccine called the RTSS. That is the only vaccine that has actually been done to actually fight parasitic diseases. We have other vaccines for viruses and bacteria that have been in existence for a long period of time. So now this is the only vaccine currently being recommended. But the point is we need further studies needs to be done.
There are over 1,200 health treatment facilities in the country. According to Malaria Control Program Manager, treatments for malaria in all these facilities are free. Access in remote areas of the country and the trust people have in these facilities is another kettle of fish. I visited Connaught, the main government referral hospital in the country. I was taken to the main laboratory where tests for various diseases including malaria are carried out. It could be noted the test for malaria is free nationwide, and this government hospital is no exception. At the lab, we were informed that they receive about 12 patients per day for malaria test. There are 2 methods of testing for malaria depending on the doctor's request. Rapid diagnostic test is one of the ways. It requires just a prick of the finger and a little amount of blood. For this, the result is almost instantaneous. The other one is microscopic test, which requires more blood drawn from the veins. As we continue our research on malaria control in Sierra Leone, the Malaria Control Program indicated that they work in collaboration with drug importing companies and pharmacies on the diagnosis and treatment of malaria and supplying of the rapid diagnostic test kits for free. There are specific drugs used in the treatment of malaria, and for this, the SLBC visited the Central Business District. Sam Lamin Kobai is the resident pharmacist at the People's Pharmacy. He explains that they have undergone trainings conducted by the Ministry of Health and Sanitation Malaria Control Program on the treatment of malaria. He says they used to conduct tests in their lab, but they have run out of the rapid test kits. Sam Lamin denied the allegation that they sell drugs for malaria without a doctor's prescription, as their policies are against drug abuse. In Sierra Leone, mass campaigns distributed bed nets to the majority of households in 2014 and 2017 and engaged communities on prevention and response. For this, we spoke to a few people on the streets of Freetown on how and what they do when they experience symptoms of malaria and the use of bed nets in their homes.
Yeah, I got to know it was malaria because of the way I felt of my joints and the ability for me to walk at a faster pace I used to, and the tiredness I normally come across and the feverish conditions I get myself in the evening hours.
So what did you do?
I straight away run to the hospital for consultation and then get medication. I use bed net.
As soon as I noticed that my urine's color has changed, my eyes are yellow, my mouth loses taste, I know it is malaria. So I visited the doctor for tests and treatments. I don't use bed nets at home because of the heat.
Well, me, I don't use them. What's in because it make her feel hot.
Reporting for the SLBC, my name is Daphne Zainab Kamara.
Well, there is an important announcement from the Office of the President. Let's have a look and we'll be right back after the break.
Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Here is a public notice from the Office of the President. The general public is hereby informed that it has pleased His Excellency the President, Julius Maada Bio, to recognize and honor the undermentioned persons at the 2019 National Honors and Awards in commemoration of the 58th Independence Anniversary. The investiture ceremony will take place on Saturday, the 27th of April 2019 at State House, commencing at 2:30 p.m. Meanwhile, the foreign honorees and awardees are requested to attend rehearsals at State House on Friday, that's today, the 26th of April at 4 p.m. for the investiture ceremony. National Awards and Awards 2019. Grand Commander, Order of the Republic of Sierra Leone, GCRSL, Mr. Amara Esse, Foreign Diplomat. Mr. Michael Schulenberg, Foreign Diplomat. Commander of the Order of the Republic of Sierra Leone, CORSL, Dr. Abbas Bundu, Speaker of Parliament. Justice Desmond Babatunde Edwards, Chief Justice. Grand Officer, Order of the Republic of Sierra Leone, GOORSL, Mr. Sheka Mansari, Dr. James Samfa Koroma, Ambassador Dr. Kona C. Koroma, Grand Commander of the Order of the Rokel, GCOR, Madam Dam Anne Cloag, DBE, Mr. Festus Michael Sewo, Dr. Reverend Senesi Mohamed Bayo, Lieutenant General Brahma Sise, Professor Aliajin Mohamed Al-Ghali, Dr. Albert C.T. Dupini, Commander of the Order of the Rokel, COR, Mr. Alex Bokari Lamin, Madam Aina Marie Kamara, Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, Mr. Edward B. Lamin, Professor Lawrence Kamara, Professor Lebi, Dr. Sandra Lako, Dr. Olabisi Cole, Madam Sanela Beckley, Catholic Relief Services, CRS, Grand Officer of the Order of the Rokel, GOOR, Mr. John Sumaila, Alhaji Kalilu Umaru Ba, Mr. Abdul Rahman Wuri, Miss Martina Kroma, Officer of the Order of the Rokel, OOR, Mr. Sylvester Mew, Major General DTO Taluva, Mrs. Elizabeth Augusta Touré, Major General Sule Sise, Group Captain Hassan Kumba, Commodore Saliu Kanu, Madam Ore Awuno Rena, Member of the Order of the Rokel, MOR, Paramount Chief Fengai Kogbende Kamachende, Paramount Chief Alhaji by Shebora Yek, Chief Matthew Young, Paramount Chief Saleh Sata Gendeme, Paramount Chief Sirifori Gondo, Paramount Chief Joseph Lamin, family Ngevao, Paramount Chief Balansama Mara III, Paramount Chief by Kumpa Bomboli, Paramount Chief Prince Pewa, Madam Ami Kalon, Mr. Blaise Yansane, Alhaji Sanu Bari, Alhaji Umaru Monomo Ba, Madam Amy E. Green, Madam Joy Samake posthumously, Mr. Sheikh Ndai, Mr. Babeli Mara, Presidential Award, Silver, Mr. Joseph Abayomi Elliott, Michael Thompson, Mrs. Mabel Onomia Davino, Mr. Christian Henry Dirosimi Godwin, Pa Bokari Koroma, Mr. Ephraim N. Stafford, Mr. Reynold Thomas, Alhaji Francis A. Vandi, Mrs. Beatrice Fomolu, Mr. Juma Boima, and Mr. Richard Bremer posthumously. That's the end of the public notice from State House.
Welcome back. You're watching News Hour on the SLBC. In case you're just joining us, we continue to bring you more stories. The Minister of Finance, Jacob Safa, has informed the insurance industry that government will not monopolize the industry, even though they provide great support to the state. He made the statement while opening the 41st Annual General Meeting and Education Conference of the West African Insurance Companies Association at the Golden Tulip Kimbima Essential Hotel, Aberdeen. The conference targeted over 100 international participants from the Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Guinea, Togo, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, the United Kingdom, and Switzerland. Hawanatu Conte reports.
In a challenging and competitive economy, it targeted over 100 international participants from the Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Guinea, Togo, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, the UK, and Switzerland. The conference is being hosted by the Sierra Leone Insurance Association with support from other partners. WICA was established to encourage the development of the insurance market in each member country. Minister of Finance, Jacob Safa, said it is imperative that Africans pay attention to the insurance market as it stabilizes the local economy. He added that there is relevant evidence that the development of inclusive insurance markets contributes to the economy and social development of a nation. He said it is necessary to improve product quality, widely expand an available supply, noting that once it reaches a competitive stage with quality products and significant stage, commercial insurance and reinsurance begin to make profits while providing relevant cover to better value to the population.
State-owned insurance company. But smart as we are, you engage the president after it has passed through parliament. And analyze out of some emotions, start to step back and you'll find something. But I need a play. By not fighting back, I'm not doing that first president, but it was the beginning of my interaction with insurance players. But in any way, that was not to say we don't care about the private sector. We cannot monopolize insurance because as governments within the context of private sector development. Whilst we give all the support to the state-owned insurance company, we also employ the private sector. We also employ to compete. And that's happening in other industries as well. While the abstract area, there are other companies who also providing communication services.
Mr. Safa challenged the insurance industry to come up with specific insurance policy proposals for consideration tailored to meet the needs of the market. He encouraged them to create a platform where they will discuss issues that will make the industry to grow. The president of West African Insurance Companies Association, Malaria Banjan, said WICA, established some 46 years ago, continues to yield high attainments in the sub-region insurance industry and indirectly their economies through the promoting and fostering cooperation and collaboration among members. He added that they remain committed to ensuring that insurance plays a pivotal role in the socio-economic development of their countries. Mr. Bajan informed the gathering that they have introduced forum for young professionals in the industry to give them the platform to voice out their views and concerns. He said in fostering sub-regional collaboration and strengthening capacity, they have established an insurance institute to build the capacity of insurance practitioners. The president of the Sierra Leone Insurance Association, Raymond Macaulay, said the theme, Insurance Production, Distribution and Marketing in a Challenging and Competitive Economy, is timely and appropriate at a time when the global insurance industry is undergoing transformation in technology, changing customers' needs, product development and cybersecurity, among others. The Commissioner of Insurance, Nathaniel Athoyaski, said in recent years they have witnessed a significant increase in the insurance regulations in the sub-region. He said Sierra Leone insurance market has worked with the Commission towards the inclusion of insurance in the curriculum of junior secondary schools to catch the children at a very young age. Mr. Yaski informed them that efforts are now underway to establish a local insurance institute that will get affiliated to the Chartered Insurance Institute of Great Britain. The High Commissioner of Nigeria to Sierra Leone, Abis Ibrahim Obada, during his goodwill message, said insurance has always been one of the strong financial pillars of developed economies, playing a major role as protector of assets, employer of labor, and fulcrum of economic development, innovation, and advancement.
Members of the opposition All People's Congress Party headed by the leader Honorable Chenoba have provided relief items to victims of the fire disaster at Krube community. Assorted items were given to the victims. The move was a show of solidarity to the fire victims. Ibrahim Samoa reports.
Is one of the slum communities in the municipality which has suffered several shocks and disasters ranging from flooding, rising sea level and fire outbreaks. Just a few weeks ago, the Krube community was again engulfed by another fire disaster, leaving properties worth hundreds of millions of leones destroyed. Since the fire outbreak, this is the fourth time the opposition APC has rendered a helping hand to these fire victims. The relief items were provided by APC MPs. Leader of the APC party in Parliament, Honorable Chenoba, said the gesture was to show the party's solidarity to the fire victims. Honorable Chenoba consoled the victims, noting that just after the incident, the party visited the community and donated learning materials to the children, also citing donations by the Stay Red movement and the national executive of the APC party. Honorable Ba admonished parents to send their children to school, especially the girl child, and take advantage of the free quality education scheme.
Today we went as APC caucus. We went there as a caucus, and the reasons are very simple. One is to continue to confirm that we sympathize and have the same feeling that others should have for those who are vulnerable. But secondly also, the holidays are around. The Easter holiday has just passed, the independence is coming up, so we thought it wise that it will be good for us to send food items for these people so that they will have something to share whilst the holiday period is on.
Other members of parliament, including Honorable Alusan Alukonte of Constituency 125, said they wanted to show love and to help ease the sufferings of the people. The lawmakers assured the victims of APC's support at all times. Beneficiaries appreciated the APC parliamentarians for always thinking of them, especially at a difficult time. According to them, the relief items came at the most needed time, especially on the eve of the independence celebration. The parliamentarians were taken on a conducted tour of the burnt houses. Many of these houses have been rebuilt by humanitarian aid. Ibrahim Samora, Freetown.
The Sierra Leone News Agency, in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Communications, had officially launched the Sierra News newspaper. The launching, which was done by the Minister of State Office of the Vice President, Francis Algali, was to ensure accurate, timely and reliable information of government's programs and other developmental issues. We bring you highlights of the event.
One of the key things that this government promised, that they would provide adequate information to the public, and I think this initiative is in fulfillment of that pledge. I also want to state that from all what we have heard here today, there are a few things that you'll be assured that Sierra newspaper, which we are going to launch today, would provide. One of the first things they have assured us that will be provided is accuracy, accurate information. They would go out and ensure that the facts are provided and not opinions and op-eds, but they would provide you with the facts. Another thing that, from what we have heard here today, that they would provide is coverage. They're going to make sure that they cover all the districts in the country and provide you information from all the districts. One of the things also that they have said that they are going to provide is reliability, reliable information, not from WhatsApp, not from Twitter, not from Facebook, but reliable information that they would source. And they have also assured us that they would be regular issues of the newspaper would come out, so that if you put your adverts, if you want to do your branding, you would be assured that the newspaper would come out regularly and what you advertise would be made available to the public. So there's not going to be a keynote address. There are two big shoes for me to wear to make a keynote address on this occasion, but on behalf of the Honorable Vice President and the government of Sierra Leone, it is my privilege and honor to give you Sierra News. Thank you very much.
So there we are, Selena is being born. Again, reborn again, it's being reinvigorated, it's being reactivated, it's being rekindled. Now that we are about to launch one of the products, Sierra News, I'd like to challenge Selena. I'd like to challenge you to be the best that you possibly could. Those of you who have worked with me can attest to the fact that my colleague and I are very fastidious, we are very rigorous. This morning when I saw the advanced copy of your paper, I straight away went to the office of Mr. Ture to raise a few concerns. I saw something there, what was that called? Sorry. This is to tell you I'm very hands-on. It is not a critic. I should not be doing this on the occasion of your launch. Kwedu Limited leads the way to corporate social responsibility. The rest of those who practice in independent media. I know for a fact that many do not even have appointment letters, those that work for the independent papers. Many are not paid minimum wage. The statutory currently being 500,000 leones. Many do not pay, many do not have NACID contributions paid for them, nor do they save for a rainy day. You who work for Slender have all of those things done. So I'm going by the maxim, to whom much is given, much is expected.
You're still watching News Hour on the SLBC. It's time for the latest around Africa. The biggest uncut diamond in history has been unearthed from a mine in Botswana. The 1,758 carat diamond is about the size of a tennis ball. The biggest diamond ever discovered is the 3,106 carat Cullinan found in South Africa in 1905. That was found before industrial mining began. There has been a spate of large diamond finds in the last few years, which has been put down to new sorting machines that can process diamonds without breaking them. A former governor of Kenya's capital, Nairobi, has been arrested over an alleged irregular payment of $664,485,000, which is equivalent to £515,976 to a law firm. Ivan Skidero was arrested along with his former chief of staff, George Wainana. Earlier, Kenya's prosecuting authority issued a statement saying that there was sufficient evidence to charge 17 people, including Mr. Kidero and Mr. Wainana, with money laundering, conspiracy to commit corruption, abuse of office, and unlawful acquisition of public office. The accused of their legal representatives have not yet commented. Well, the United Nations Refugee Agency says it is increasingly concerned about the safety of migrants and refugees in Libya after gunfire at a detention center on the outskirts of the capital, Tripoli. Unverified footage shows detainees trying to take cover as repeated shots are being fired. There are unconfirmed reports they had been protesting about living conditions. The center is in an area occupied by forces loyal to General Khalifa Haftar, the military leader from eastern Libya, who launched an offensive on Tripoli, the base of the internationally recognized government, 3 weeks ago. But more than 250 people have been killed during fighting. And now for sports news. The Sierra Leone Premier League Board has ended a one-day round-table discussion with referees in the country. The discussion was to engage referees on their conduct in officiating matches in the Premier League. The event took place at the Sierra Leone Football Association Academy in Freetown. Esther Marie Samara has more.
3 months ago, the start of the Sierra Leone Premier League after so many years brought so much anxiety in the country as it has created job opportunities for people. Amidst the euphoria of the successful Premier League, there were so many challenges during the first leg of the league. Poor officiating from the referees was highlighted during some Premier matches. The second round is expected to commence on the 1st of May, and therefore these elite referees have been cautioned on the need to uphold their integrity as the league resumes. Referees manager at the Sierra Leone Football Association, Mohamed Freeman, said they reduced on the number of referees that will be officiating in the second leg of the match as a way of curtailing the misconduct of some of them and for some to be grounded with the laws.
We cut down the number based on performance, and we want to see quality refereeing in the Sierra Leone Premier League, and we want to keep the beauty of the game. That's why we brought 44 male referees and 4 female referees to bring them forth and teach them the laws of the game again and refresh their memories and teach them about the new amendment of the laws of the game, for which will commence on the 1st of June 2019. Also, we brought in the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of National Security to help us work on the integrity of refereeing and match manipulation, which we got some information about teams manipulating the game.
Deputy Director of Public and Outreach Affairs at the Anti-Corruption Commission, Alassane Kagbo, said the Anti-Corruption Commission was set up to combat all forms of corruption practices in the country, noting that the referees are the custodians of the matches. He called on them to deviate from all forms of malpractice. Esther Marie Samoa, SLBC.
Well, that's all for sport. And now to end the news, the main points again. Malaria Transport and Logistics has updated the media on its port expansion at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. The Sierra Leone News Agency and Ministry of Information and Communications have officially launched the Sierra News newspaper, and the Minister of Health and Sanitation has launched the Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy. And that's all in this edition of the news with me, Willie Buku. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.